Good morning, everybody. This is a very important and special day as we will be turning over the leadership of the board to a new slate of officers. So we're going to do that at the very beginning of the meeting. We have some very important and special guests here for that, and we appreciate you being here today. So at this point, we're going to call the meeting to order. May I have a roll call?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Beebe.
Present.
Ms. Beebe is present. Mr. Bennett is absent. Ms. Bofi.
Here.
Ms. Bofi is present. Ms. Bradford.
Here.
Ms. Bradford is present. Ms. Destug.
Here.
Ms. Destug is present. Mr. Garvey.
Here.
Mr. Garvey is present. Mr. Gio.
Present.
Mr. Gio is present. Ms. Gill is absent. Mr. Lee.
Here.
Mr. Lee is present. Ms. Orange Jones. Ms. Orange Jones is not here yet. Mr. Romer.
Here.
Mr. Romer is present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll begin with the invocation, which will be said by former Governor Buddy Romer, and then will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, given by Jude Melville. Would you please stand? And that.
Let's bow our heads. Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, I confess that I came to be quiet, to listen, but pity forced me to stand up. And so forgive her, Lord. We ask for a blessing on this meeting. We ask for your blessing on every child and every teacher. They stand together. We ask that you help this committee and their staff. And the leader of education in our state, Mr. White. May you work to move forward because every child depends on you. Lord, we thank you for your many blessings. We ask for forgiveness for our sins. In your name, our Lord Jesus, we ask these things. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we'd like our newly elected officers, our new president, Charles Romer, the vice president, James Garvey, and secretary-treasurer, Ms. Holly Bofi. If you please come to the front of the room. And Lieutenant Governor Jay Darden is going to do the honors. We appreciate you being here once again. It has become a tradition, so.
Congratulations to y'all and to all the members of the board. Thank you for the great work that you're doing on behalf of the children of this state. I know sometimes it's a thankless job, a controversial job, but we appreciate all your time and all your hard work and your service to the people of Louisiana. You would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. And the state of Louisiana. I will perform and discharge. All the duties incumbent upon me. State your office. As a president of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education. So help me God. Congratulations.
Okay, Mr. Romer, come chair your meeting. I say that with a big smile on my face.
Thanks, appreciate it. I've reserved 30 minutes here in the beginning for me to talk, so I hope everybody's got coffee. No, I want to thank everyone on this board who I serve with. We sometimes differ in opinion, which I think is a healthy thing. But without exception, these board members work diligently and work passionately for what they believe in, and that's the kids of our state. So I appreciate each and every one of you
I hope I earn this position that you've allowed me to serve, and I look forward to working with each and every one of you. So thank you very much, and may God be with us. I also want to thank my family, my wife, Tina, who tolerates, as most of you know very well, you can imagine how much she tolerates with me. So I appreciate her support being here. My father, Buddy Romer, I'm glad to see you didn't bring your bricks today, Dad. So, but I appreciate you being here. My sister Caroline, who is a strong advocate for education in this state, and I admire her work greatly. And she's had to tolerate a great deal of grief with me serving on BESE and her trying to do her job and do it well. And that's not an easy thing. So I appreciate her. I'm sorry, I got to thank all my good friend and my first cousin, Jude Melville. We come from an interesting family. We grew up in Bossier City, Louisiana, on a farm, and we've always taken education critically as important. And Jude is a member of this community and has a unique background, graduating from Parkway High School in Bossier City, Louisiana, a public school, going to Harvard University, then the London School of Economics, and then graduating #1 from the banking school at LSU. Jude's had an outstanding career and is an important member of our state. My brother Dakota, who lives with a flair for life that I wish everyone would have. It's interesting to travel this community in particular. He's a product of the public schools here in Baton Rouge, and to meet all the teachers that have taught Dakota. I never know quite what to say when they come up to me and say, I taught your brother Dakota. But I appreciate him being here. And then a good friend of mine and his business partner, Denver Benton, who, those of you who don't know, Denver's also an important part of this community. His family's been very active for years. And Denver also is a graduate here in East Baton Rouge. So I appreciate you all being here. And I'll limit to that. I'll say this. We have an enormous task. And I want everyone to be reassured we will not rest on laurels or rankings in some paper about the quality of our job. We'll judge ourselves on the quality of our students and their abilities to get jobs and their abilities to continue on to college if they wish. We sometimes differ on how we're going to get there, but we will not be satisfied until every child in this state, regardless of their wealth, has access to a high-quality education. And I'll tell you what the most critical factor in that is: the quality of the teacher in every classroom. We can pass all the policies we want up here. It's the teacher in the classroom that makes the difference. And let's be clear, we've got a tremendous number of high-quality teachers who put in long hours, who are underappreciated, who are asked to do more than just teach their students. They're asked to be a parent at times. They're asked to be a disciplinarian. We put a lot of weight on our teachers' shoulders, and we will lift them up. We will help them be better. But this board's committed to quality education for every child, regardless of how we deliver that education. We will not provide only one path to success in this state, because one path does not meet the needs of all. Every child's different. I have two. I wish they could be here today. They had tests. Politics comes and goes, but those tests are important. Each of them are different. And we need to have a system that addresses the needs of individual children, regardless of their circumstances. And what that means is it's not a one-size-fits-all system, because one size doesn't fit all. Some kids are fine in a class of 35. Some kids need a class of 2. We got to meet the needs of the child at the level of the classroom. We got to get out of the box checking business and get into the teaching business. And that's what this board's going to do. Again, I probably went too long. I want to thank you for this opportunity. I've already had, since my election, I've had the opportunity to work on a working group for the superintendent's evaluation, the development of the superintendent's evaluation. And that group was a diverse group. We had Ms. Beebe in that group. We had Mr. Gio in that group. We had Holly Bofi in that group and myself. And we don't all agree on every topic. But the four of us worked well together, I believe, and came up with a good instrument. And we're going to continue the same. With that being said, what is our next order of business?
Mr. Chairman, could I?
Yes.
Make a comment? I want to congratulate you on being named president of the board. I think you're very sharp, very capable, very dedicated, and I think we saw that in your expressions this morning. And I think Louisiana is at a point where we have the opportunity to move forward with educational improvement. We still got a ways to go. It's going to take some strong leadership, but with you and Superintendent White working together, I think we're going to see some good things happen. And I know, and you know, your real ability to be here didn't come from within you, but it started with your grandfather. And he was the real patriot of this state, worked for years as commissioner of administration, even had a son that was fairly capable and became governor. But the entire Romer family, very sharp, very capable, very dedicated, and I think that you'll do well as a product of that environment. Now, they did, I have to tell you, they told me this morning the real reason for all of them being here, they just couldn't believe you made it to this point. And they wanted to come see the
I appreciate it, Walter. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I think we are in good hands, in good shape. And I also want to take this opportunity to express appreciation to Ms. Penny Dastu. She did a good job as president of this board for 2 years and certainly led the board through some tough times. And Penny, you did it well, and I appreciate your leadership.
Along those lines, if I may, Penny didn't ask for any fanfare today. And so we've decided to keep it to a minimum, but there's going to be some fanfare. And Penny Dastu, Penny has served as our board president now for 2 years, and is, what's this year? How many terms have you been here now?
9 years.
9 years. And the last 2 years have been particularly challenging for a number of reasons, from our economy and our budget struggles to the major reforms that we've put in place as a board and as a state. And Penny has done a yeoman's work in helping see these and foster these programs through. So Penny, if you don't mind, I'll take you down front real quick. I know you didn't want it, but you're going to get it anyway.
Well, you're now the president, so.
Well, we need to say that if anybody wants to.
And I appreciate everybody being patient with our work, what we're doing. But for those of us that serve, don't get paid. It's an interesting kind of concept. But anyway, so these small things. It's a resolution from the Possession Board. It says, whereas Ms. Penny Dastu was an elected member of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education from January 2004 to January 2008. And whereas Ms. Dastu was appointed by Governor Bobby Kendall as a member at large on the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education in January 2008, continues to serve in that capacity. And whereas Ms. Dastu has served as a member of the School Renovation and Turnaround Committee
both vice chair and chair of the Student and School Standards and Instruction Committee, a member of the AG Committee, both a member and chair of the Finance and Audit Review Committee, and vice chair of the Quality Educators Committee. And whereas Ms. Dastuke has served as chair of the Student-Based Budgeting Task Force, chair of the Virtual Education Study Group, member of the Blue Ribbon Commission, and the Governor's Commission on Marriage and Family. And whereas Ms. Dastuke has represented BESE and the School and District Accountability Commission, the Minimum Foundation Program Governmental Liaison Committee, and the School Finance Review Commission, and has also served on the National Association of State Boards of Education Legislative Advocacy Committee and on the board of the School Leadership Center. And whereas Ms. Dastuke has held many volunteer and leadership positions in the education community, including that of PTA president, PTA vice president, parent club officer, and committee chair. And whereas Ms. Dastuke has served selflessly and tirelessly as president of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education from December 2010 to January 2013. Now therefore be it resolved that the members of the Board of Elementary and Secondary Education convened at its January 16, 2013 meeting in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, express their sincere appreciation to Ms. Penny Dastuke for her years of dedicated public service and her leadership steadfast throughout Louisiana's implementation of education reform.
Mr. President, if it would be okay with you, I'd like to make a couple of comments on behalf of the department.
No.
Is that not okay?
No, I'll change that. No.
All right, we can talk about that later.
Go ahead.
I want to say I've been in two different capacities under your leadership, Penny, and I've talked with some of the members of the team today about what to say, and I'll keep it brief. But the first day that I came to before a BESE meeting to be hired as Recovery School District Superintendent, you and I talked on the phone, and it wasn't a discussion about how you needed something from me, or I needed to go say something to you or say something to somebody else to prove this or prove that. You said, if you're here to help our kids, then I want to do whatever it takes to help you. And one thing in a relatively short career of public service relative to many of the esteemed people here today that I have learned is that public service can be very isolating. and leadership can be very isolating. And at the same time, that's something that I don't just believe to be true. That's probably something that everybody up here and many members of the audience think to be true. And so probably the most isolating among isolating public service leadership experiences is having to be the tie that binds, because I know that I'm not the only one with whom you were having that conversation. And I know I speak for Aaron and Bridget and for every one of our team members who over 9 years you've literally spent hours with individually. And then when I think about the same is true of the board, I think every single person that interacts with BESE from the department thinks they have a special relationship with Penny Dastuke.
They do.
And they do. And they do. And by the way, I mean special in the entire best sense of that word. But that's extraordinary. I've never worked with anyone in a board capacity who could actually achieve that with such integrity and commitment and care and love. And so I thank you personally for being that kind of person, but also on behalf of the department, I thank you for touching so many of our public servants' lives.
Thank you. That's very nice. Thank you, John.
Ms. Beebe.
Thank you, Mr. Romer, and I do want to congratulate each of you, the newly elected officers, and I want to say to Ms. Dastuke, I realize that individuals who have different philosophical opinions or views, but I do want to thank you. Although we had those differences, you were always professional, and I do want to again express my appreciation to you. And I recognize the many hours that you sacrifice away from your family, and so we do appreciate you. Moving forward, Mr. Romer, I will extend to you as we begin the new year in your administration, recognizing the philosophical differences. I wish that in some way we could come together and try to reach a happy medium, if you will, so that we will engage all stakeholders. And I want to commend you. To date, you have communicated that desire. So just moving forward, I would hope that we would engage more of the stakeholders, particularly within traditional systems, to achieve that goal that we all aspire to achieve, and that is quality education.
Thank you. Ms. Bulkey.
Well, I want to thank the board for this opportunity to serve. I'm honored that you believe in me, and so I will do the very best I can. And would like to recognize my friend Lori Foy, who's in the audience. She has been part of my journey as an educator for a very long time, so I appreciate that she's here today. And to Penny, that I just, we talk about hours. I'm not sure that anybody will ever understand how many hours it actually has been. So on behalf of the students, thank you for all those hours.
Okay, so the emotional side.
Mr. Gill.
Yeah, Penny, just thanks so much for the hours. I mean, I can't add a lot to the words that have been said. It's been very well said. I know we spent a lot of time together. You had 5 new members that I think you've done a fabulous job incorporating into this board. And on a personal note, I have a new friend with you and Quentin. And thanks so much, because that speaks volumes of your ability to not only take care of the business of the board, but to do it in a way with integrity and openness and friendship, and I very much appreciate that.
Thank you, Jay. I feel that way too.
Ms. Orange-Jones.
Penny, I just want to say thank you so much for your leadership. I agree with everything that's been said before, and so I'll be brief, but when I think about your leadership, there's this leadership sort of framework called Level 5 leadership, taken from one of those sort of wonky leadership books. And the Level 5 leader is the best sort of highest caliber of leader that really is not the person who needs to be the loudest in the room or necessarily speak the most or say, use the most language to express what they're saying, but rather leads from a place of humility and is egoless. And studies have shown over time that those leaders are the leaders that actually can rally others to get to outcomes. And I think you've exemplified Level 5 leadership on this board. I think it's about the work and not about the ego, and I think you've really demonstrated that. So thank you for your example.
Thank you, Kara. That's very, very kind.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Ms. Bradford.
It's amazing that we all thought we were Penny's special friend. And I do think that that's a true gift. I know as a new member coming in the middle of a term, it was a lot of catch-up, but she was there every step of the way, not in a leadership position, but just in a caring capacity. And that's a word that I would say marks Penny, and that's why we all feel like we're her special friend, is her caring. And if there's one thing that our world needs today, it's someone who cares without motive, who gives without any wanting in return, and who believes the best of people. And that includes the children of our state. And surely Penny Dastug fits that definition.
Wow.
Thank you.
This is so nice. I would have retired sooner. Yes. Thank you all so much. Very, very kind. I will remember these words for a very long time, if not forever. And I can honestly say, I look at each of you on the board as my friends. I appreciate Jamie saying that. People in the department, you're right, Mr. Superintendent, I do have a relationship with many of the individuals, and it has allowed us to get a lot of work done in a short period of time, and that's really has always been my goal, is to do this work with urgency, because our children are so young and have so little time. And so it is by making your team available to BESE members like myself, it really helps us get this work done. So I appreciate the openness and the cooperation that this board has with you and with your team. Thank you.
And lastly, I want to thank you for being willing to indefinitely represent the BESE board at the legislature when we talk about the MFP. So, Penny, thanks for doing that very much.
I'm training Jay to do that. I'm working on Jay right now.
Next item.
Item 3, approval of the agenda. There are no emergency agenda items.
Move approval.
There's a motion to approve the agenda, and there's a second by Mrs. Beebe. Any objection to the agenda? Hearing none, so moved.
Item 4, approval of the minutes of December 5th, 2012.
I move approval.
Move approval by
Second.
Mr. Gio, second by Ms. Bradford for the approval of the minutes of December 5th, 2012. Is there any objection? Hearing none, so moved.
Item 5, report by the State Superintendent of Education.
Mr. President, members, thank you, as always, for the opportunity to present a report. I wanted just to share thoughts regarding what's to come in the time between now and our next board meeting, which really is 6 weeks away. And I think we are turning a corner. This is a year's time into our administration, a year's time into our board. And I wanted just to briefly talk about what I think the critical distinction will be between the year that has just passed and the year that is to come, and thus forthcoming announcements that will be made over the course of the time. The last year has been spent doing monumental work, building on what I would call foundational change that this board has been working on for some years, certainly predating my time here. There were fundamental changes, such as the Recovery School District, that created a structural shift in our state and the way that our state's education system is built. In the last year alone, we adjusted our entire labor framework through the institution of the Compass regulations and through the institution of Act 1. We redid the way that finances and school choice are thought about and the rights of kids to attend the best educational option for them using public tax dollars through Act 2 and through the scholarship program, our charter program, and our course choice program. We put in place regulations that remove undue burdens from educators, including many of the changes supported yesterday in Bulletin 741. With Act 3 and the regulations set in motion by this board, we created an early childhood education network that brings the governance of a fragmented early childhood system under one governance structure, thus uniting the finances, the accountability, the enrollment, and the professional development across all programs, birth to 5 education. These are extremely important and necessary fundamental elements of reform. They are structural elements of reform. And members, what I would ask is that you consider the next year a shift from the fundamental structure, the framework, toward the substance that fills that framework. And I think that's a critical shift for us to consider. It doesn't mean anything we're going to be doing is less controversial. It doesn't mean it's going to be less difficult or less complex. In fact, I think it gets more difficult and more complex. But I want to urge our thinking toward that way, away from the framework and toward the substance that the framework enables. And let me talk briefly then about things that I think you'll hear me talking about more over the course of the time between this meeting and our next meeting. First, and Ms. Beebe has mentioned this on several occasions, is the idea that we need to shift away from using our tools, our academic tools like our standards, our tests, our compass system as separate pieces into one system of academic support for our educators. You will hear us speak over the course of the next several weeks about an academic support strategy that will include detailed use of and detailed guides on and sample assessment items to help our educators make an exact transition in terms of what is shifting on the standards and how it relates, on the tests, and how it relates to the new Common Core standards. You'll hear us talk about in that academic support strategy a specific piece of curricular guidance to give every educator in our state an understanding of how curriculum is shifting, a sample scope and sequence and sample units that they can use to organize their standards, while at the same time shifting away from the reliance on textbooks and the reliance on a prescriptive, comprehensive curriculum to empower our educators. Guidance, but also empowerment to learn these new standards. We laid the groundwork yesterday for compass shifts that allow for the use of compass as not just a tool to grade teachers on the polls, but to really give specific guidance to the vast number of teachers who are in the middle on classroom practice. You'll also hear us talking about, as part of the support strategy, our network teams focus on district systems to make sure that districts have their professional development and their assessment plans aligned with the Common Core and the Compass systems. And finally, the development of a cadre of literally thousands of lead teachers across the state that have, at the schoolhouse level, the ability to speak as fluently about these issues as any department staff, as any national expert, trained themselves on how to facilitate the change process at the school level, taking it to the school so that there actually is a support mechanism on the Common Core and Compass for every school in our state. So I want to preview that academic strategy so you understand how these tools come together to form the substance within the framework. Also, within the pre-K framework, we'll be filling in, as we discussed yesterday, the substance of our pre-K pilots and really thus a projection of what Act 3 is going to manifest into. Our course choice system will manifest itself in a specific vision of career education over the course of the next year, and I want to emphasize that we have to make career education something that is a palatable, viable, and relevant option for more kids than it is today in our state. We're losing too many kids, but we're also seeing economic opportunities develop on a daily basis, including today's announcement of an enormous facility that will, by 2017, provide hundreds of jobs in the Lake Charles area. And we need to be prepared for these. We need our education system to be prepared for these opportunities, and we'll be talking more about career education. Technology, and a vision that's not just about one computer for every child, but about the technology infrastructure that's necessary to support all of these changes across our state. We need a wholesale technology upgrade in every school district, and statewide to support our K-12 education system. And finally, special education. If we're talking about substance, we need to pay close heed to how, for children with disabilities, all of these changes impact them and how we can use them to create better outcomes with students with disabilities, and making that a key priority within the substance of our work. So I wanted just to share with you, the concept that we're going to move from the fundamental changes, the structural changes, to a vision of the substance of classroom impact by bringing them into combination with one another, and that you should expect us to be talking more about these both with you individually as well as with our schools and with the public. Mr. President, I thank you for the opportunity to share those thoughts.
I appreciate those comments. Does a board member have any comments they want to add or ask of the superintendent at this moment? If not, I'd like to recognize Ms. Beebe for a point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. Romer and members of the board. Oftentimes, we hear the negatives. Well, today I am very excited to celebrate a group who, in my opinion, has attained a level of excellence that perhaps 1% in the nation attains, and that is achieving their doctorates. And I am a representative of District 3. I have asked for 5 individuals to be recognized. 4 reside in District 3, BESE District 3, and I'm so elated that we have accomplished this feat in this district. So they're here today. Unfortunately, only 2 showed up today. I have, like, as I said, I was prepared to recognize 5, but I would ask those individuals to come forward. They're Miss Susan Dupre, and she was awarded a doctorate in educational leadership. She resides in Morgan City, Louisiana. We also have Ms. Dolores E. Cormier-Zeno, who is, she attained a doctorate in education and leadership. She resides in Opelousas. We have Mr. Louis Voron Jr., who is a supervisor in Thibodaux, Louisiana, Lafourche Parish. And 2 individuals, I don't know that they're here, Miss Brenda LaRue Babin, who is also a board member in Terrebonne Parish. She attained her PhD in oceanography and coastal sciences. She resides in Houma, Louisiana. And also Miss Amy, well, actually Dr. Amy Vermillion Craig, who resides in Rapides Parish, Pineville, Louisiana. She too attained a doctorate in educational leadership. So at this time, I have the pleasure of presenting certificates of achievement to these individuals. And Superintendent White, I would ask that you come forward to join me as they're presented these certificates. And I would ask someone to take a picture to document this.
So I'm not in the picture.
Okay, and as a member of the State Board of Elementary Education, I do give you certificate of recognition.
You deserve more time than that.
And Dr. Dolores E. Cormier-Zeno, congratulations. Dr. Susan Bonnie Dupre. And to Dr. Louis M. Boron, Jr.
Thank you for that recognition of those individuals, Ms. Beebe, and congratulations to each of you for the hard work and achievement. Congratulations. Next item.
We move to item 6, Board Committee Reports. Item 6.1, Academic Goals and Instructional Improvement Committee, Ms. Bothby.
That's right.
On behalf of the Academic Goals and Instructional Support Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 12, noting that motions 4 through 11 are notices of intent.
Second.
There's a motion and a second by Ms. Dastug. Is there any objection? Hearing none, so moved. Next item.
I'm sorry, was that Academic Goals and
Yes,
Instructions
sir.
Committee? Could you note me as voting against approval of items 4 through 8, please?
4
Through 8.
through 8.
Thank you.
Okay, so noted. Item 6.2, Administration and Finance Committee, Mr. Lee.
On behalf of the Administration and Finance Committee, I move approval of items 1 through 28.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Lee, a second by Ms. Dastug. Is there any objection? Hearing none, so moved. Next item.
Item 6.3, minimum foundation program public hearing. Mr. Lee.
I move that the minimum foundation program MFP public hearing be received by the board.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Lee, a second by Ms. Bradford. Is there any objection to receiving the minutes? Hearing none, so moved. Next item.
Item 6.4, Educator Effectiveness Committee. Ms. Destuke.
Thank you. On behalf of the Educator Effectiveness Committee, I recommend approval of motions 1 through 4, noting that motions 1, 2, and 3 are notices of intent.
Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Dastu, a second by Ms. Beebe. Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing none, so moved. Next item.
Item 6.5, School Innovation and Turnaround Committee. Ms. Orange Jones.
Mr. Garvey.
Oh, okay,
Mr.
yes.
Garvey?
On behalf of the School Innovation and Turnaround Committee, I move approval for items 1 through 14, noting that item 13 and 14 are notices of intent.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Garvey, a second by Ms. Bradford. Is there any objection to the motion? Hearing none, so moved.
Item 7, Board Advisory Council reports. Item 7.1, Superintendent's Advisory Council. The recommendation is to receive the minutes and approve the tentative agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Lee, second by Mr. Gio. Is there any objection or comment? Hearing none, so moved. Next item.
Item 8, items for consideration is consideration of executive session regarding the annual evaluation of the State Superintendent of Education. Mr. Romer.
Yes, members, we will have to vote to go into executive session. So I ask a motion to go into executive session to discuss the annual evaluation of the State Superintendent of Education.
So moved.
Second.
We'll need to do a roll call vote. The President asked for a roll call vote on the motion to go into executive session, and it must have a 2/3 affirmative vote of members present required for passage of the motion to go into executive session.
And just to confirm, Ms. Bradford, was that you? Okay. Motion to go into executive session, Ms. Beebe?
Yes.
Ms. Beebe votes yes. Mr. Bennett is absent. Ms. Bofi?
Yes.
Ms. Bofi votes yes. Ms. Bradford?
Yes.
Ms. Bradford votes yes. Ms. Dastu?
Yes.
Ms. Dastu votes yes. Mr. Garvey?
Yes.
Mr. Garvey votes yes. Mr. Gio?
Yes.
Mr. Gio votes yes. Ms. Hill? Ms. Hill is absent. Mr. Lee?
Yes.
Mr. Lee votes yes. Ms. Orange Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Orange Jones votes yes. Mr. Romer?
Yes.
Mr. Romer votes yes.
I will remind the public that we will take no votes in executive session. Any votes that would be required will be taken in public. Thank you.
Probably don't need to.
We will have our comments, he'll be in there, and then we're not at liberty to kind of just, we're not at liberty to comment. It'll be a long time. I'm sure it'll be a lot of, a lot of flowers, I'm sure. We've heard them already. This years and years ago at the state sale. Yeah, this is, these are actually, yes. They're, in fact, yeah. You want her number? Phone number, or you'd rather the email, or I could email it?
Yeah, just
I have her number.
Yeah, you'll just email it to me. I'm gonna write it down.
Yeah. She's a, I mean, that's why, I mean, I give it back to her, because she and I got something in as a started together in leadership, and she just is such a brilliant person. She's the one that asked me
What do I do?
You know, there are challenges and there are challenges.
Sure. I understand.
So, but she got me what they were doing was all the items that that a policy
need to get in there. And you know, I should have bought the pants that went with it now in hindsight, because the pants were this material. I like this jacket, it's comfortable, it's warm, but it's not, it's square, so it doesn't bind me anywhere. It's just because my body is now square, so.
Thank you, members. We do need a motion to come back into order.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Here, second.
There's a motion to come back in order. I'm assuming there's no objection. We'd like to thank everyone for their participation. We'd like, for the record, to indicate that the superintendent did receive a favorable evaluation, that the evaluation will not be final until February. There's one remaining item that we're waiting for the data to come in, and it will come in February. But it should be noted that regardless of the outcome of that individual item, his ultimate evaluation will remain effective. So we appreciate everyone's participation in that. Any other business?
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
Move and second. Thank you. Now adjourned.
Yeah.